Hello and welcome to the GR8 Minds Podcast with myself, David Pugh.
And myself, Shameem.
And today we're joined by a guest from Selfa, and that's Emma Pears. So welcome to our podcast, Emma.
Hi.
So today we're just going to have a little bit of a chat. You can tell us a little bit about Selfa and hopefully we'll hear all about the great work that you do. I know that you've supported a lot of young people that I know of, and there's lots more that's going on that I'm sure I don't know of as well. So yeah, I know that you're a charity in Craven who run many different groups and projects, but could you tell us a little bit about Selfa and what the charity do?
Of course, David. Well, it's lovely to be here. So I'm Emma Pears from Selfa Children's Charity. And like you said, we're based in Craven. So that's Skipton, Bentham and Settle. And we support about 450 children a year. About 150 children and young people come through our doors every week. And that's through a range of health and wellbeing programmes. So each week we have about 20 different groups from age 4 right through to 19, where children and young people are right at the heart of everything that we do. So we support children, young people and their families through the tough times in their lives. When you think about what that might look like, when a child or young person might come through our door, the 20 groups are all very different and based on what the needs and wants are of the children and young people who attend. So, for example, we have a wellness group for teenage girls. Last night we were doing vision boards, so about raising aspirations and thinking about hopes for the future. We also run a number of sports and physical activity groups for all ages. We have sports leaders, so quite a few of our sports activities are for children and young people who might be previously disengaged in sport. Yeah. And we try and encourage them to get involved at whatever level they do and just have good time and build up like their experience of trying different sports and activities. And then we also offer that one-to-one support. So we offer mentoring, coaching and counselling at Selfa. We offer safe spaces and after school, evening and weekend and school holidays, one-to-one sessions to those who are experiencing difficulties, as well as wellbeing cafes. So quite a lot there, David, for me to start off with. Let's break that down a bit.
Certainly sounds like you're being kept busy in the area there. So yeah, lots on. And I think it sounds great that, first of all, 150 young people every week being supported is massive, but that's covering so many different areas and all with different levels of need, different places on their journey. So I'm sure some will be very new to Selfa and some will have been coming for a long time. And it sounds like there's so many different services available for pretty much any young person out there to support them. So I think that's really good to hear. So if anybody does need any support and you're wondering is Selfa a group for you, then I'd say get in touch and see if it is, and I'm sure that there'll be something there for them.
Can I ask, Emma, what would be the referral process if, for instance, a parent or carer or even a young person wants to attend your services, your organisation?
Sure. Well, if you go to our website, so if you Google Selfa, SELFA, our website's the top listed one. You click on there and it says refer now, and you can fill in the form online. So that parent could do that, or a young person could do that themselves. But also you can pick up the phone and give us a call. The number's on the website as well. Or Selfa is also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just send us a DM about wanting to come to Selfa, and then we'll get in touch with you. So try and make it as easy as possible for people to be referred or self-referred to us. But most of our referrals come through schools in the area. We have a few through Carers Resource, social prescribers, obviously, good source of referrals. But what we'll do is when a young person refers to us, we usually check with them if they're okay for us to speak to the school about, how we can link with them, because we realise that we can't work in isolation. We've got to try and support everybody in this process. So we work really closely with schools as well.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Brilliant, yeah. Selfa's been running for 15 years now, and I mean, I know that in recent years since I've been in this role, and I know that it's grown and grown in just that short time, but I think I'm right in saying that you started it all off and were involved in setting it up. Tell us a little bit of the background, what was the reasoning for that, and how it's changed since then.
Yeah, indeed. Whenever we first started, we used to just do holiday activities. We had a BBC Children in Need grant to run activities for what was then vulnerable children and young people in the school holidays, and we've really grown over the years through the work that we do, supporting so many children and young people now. And I think that there's a lot at the heart of that. I've worked personally with a lot of these families over the years, so I feel like those kids have grown up with Selfa, but also in recent years, particularly around more support we offer for children and young people around their emotional health and well-being. I'm a parent of a child who, when she was 8 years old, she started to experience some emotional distress at school and at home. And I know that it was the early support that we got her then that really helped her through. So I think having my lived experience as a parent and carer as well, it really makes me, able to relate to what's going on in these families' lives, and just want people to have the best experience that they can. We want children to thrive and do well, and children do well if we create that right environment for them to be supported. And that's what they get at Selfa. They get that sense of belonging through our weekly groups and those relationships with our staff and volunteers who have been there many years, really. So that's really the thinking behind it. I always think that, it's what more can we do? I always think is my motto, what more can we do to support children and young people and their families, especially in these times.
Great, yeah. And I think that shows how it's grown and grown since that, those early times that it was just the holiday activities through to all the different groups that are running now and the numbers of young people that are supported. So that's really good to hear, and I think it comes through that what more can we do shows in the way that the charity's probably grown. And
it definitely does show that you are, on your website it says here to make a difference, and you have been going for 15 years, and it's a credit to yourself and your team for continuing to do what you're doing in the best efforts. And it's a difficult time right now, but and it's nice to know that young people and parents and carers have got this facility in Craven and Skipton area. And then the referral process, as you mentioned, is online on the website, www.selfa.org.uk. And again, you said you update your Facebook, and you've got Insta, and also you've got Twitter as well. Coming back to, so how can young people get involved and attend some of your activities that you run? I know that it's through the referral process, but how could they get involved?
So the main thing is getting children and young people through the door, and I know that can be really scary. It's not just like, hey, give us a call and turn up at this new group with a whole load of people that you've never met before. That would send my anxiety through the roof as an adult. So I can't even imagine what it would be like with for a young person. So I think the thing is to make that initial contact, to reach out to us and do that in the way that's best for you to do that. Like we said, if it's through sending us a direct message saying, I'd like to come to Selfa and I'd like to speak to someone, can you tell me more? Then we'll start that process. And I think that's the bit. If you can reach out as a parent, carer, schools pretty much know how to refer to us, and so a lot of professionals already know how to do that. But if you're maybe speaking to someone who's at school or a social prescriber, then do say to them, I heard that about Selfa, or I heard that podcast about Selfa. Can you, support me with that? So I would say that's the first thing. And we're all about building up a relationship. So I think that's a really important thing with children and young people. Like, I've been there 15 years. A lot of the team have been there long time. We really look after our team well, so people tend to stick around. Everybody loves to work and volunteer at Selfa. So I think that really, when I speak to children and young people who come to Selfa, the important things are that they're people that they know, that they trust, that are genuinely interested in them, that take time to build up a relationship with them and do what they say they're going to do. And that's the crux of it, really. We do have different ways to support people. So, if you fancy coming along to a group and, you're feeling like, struggling with some friendships and feeling quite lonely, we do have groups where you can come along once a week. Like I said, the girls groups, the sports groups. We also have our youth council who are involved in leading the direction of the organisation. So loads of different things going on there. Definitely something to suit everyone. But also for those who need one-to-one support, we do have wellbeing cafes on a couple of evenings a week, and also on a Saturday afternoon. So they can be, I would say, just send us a message if you want to come along to one of those, and you can just come along and we can, have a chat and see what's going on for you and see in the best way that we can support you with that. And then there is the offer as well of the coaching, parent coaching as well. So we have some new programs coming up around that, and we do have a small counselling offer as well. So so quite a bit going on there, but I think it's just just reach out to us, and that's we've tried to make ourselves reach outable too, and we're trying to make sure that we're doing everything that we can. But please do just or pick up the phone and give us a call and say I'd like some support, and I think Selfa might be the right place for me.
Fantastic. And it sounds there, from what you said, it's not just, obviously, we're telling it for young people, but it's not just the support for the young people. If there's any parents who are listening to this and thinking, I'm really struggling, my young person, my child won't want to go to get this support, but they might be able to get some support themselves. Then it sounds like you guys support parents as well. We are we've done some family work in the past, and we've got some peer support groups for parents coming up in the new year. I qualified as a parent wellbeing coach a few years ago, and through my role and my lived experience as a parent, I'm able to have those conversations with parents, and so are other members of the team, to be able to support them and guide them as well. And there's quite a lot out there for parents as well. When I've spoken to parents in the past, over half of them have said that they want help, but they haven't been, offered it. So that's it. There's lots of people working out there together, face to face, which is important, but also there's lots of online resources we can support people with as well. And then that peer support, which I really value as a parent myself, and you can feel quite isolated if your child has got, mental health issues and just think, and there's a lot of, blame and shame around that. So I'm really working hard to destigmatise that as well. Yeah, definitely.
Can I ask them, you offer support for parents, carers and young people. If, for instance, you have professionals that would like some information and advice from yourself, you have got the expertise, your own personal experience. I feel that they want to pick up the phone. What would you offer? What could you offer the professionals?
So, we do some work in schools as well. We have a team member who goes into schools and delivers our Selfa Mindful programs. So we can deliver that in schools. And I think once we build up those relationships with schools, they're coming to us more. So I think sometimes it's quite hard to pick up that phone. But, if you are in a school in the Craven area, do contact us, because we do have some stuff that we can support with there as well, and hopefully that's growing. Mentoring in school as well, coming into school, doing small group work around emotional health and well-being. with children and young people. So we do offer that as well. But yeah, and also having that kind of knowledge of the whole area and what's out there. And I think, as you probably know yourself, that's quite hard, because it just seems like there's a whole load of services, and some have a waiting list and some don't, and what do I access, and there's this and this and this, and even I get confused. So indeed. So it's trying to like look at navigating that's what offer that's out there as well, because it's quite easy to think that there might just be one route to get, one-to-one support for your child, and there are many.
One of the things that I noticed that you mentioned at the start is that you're covering the Craven area. So you mentioned Bentham and Settle, which are of particular interest, because a lot of the time I know that Craven's quite a large geographical area, quite a rural area. So not just in Skipton, I know that there's a lot of activities at you're based at in school in Skipton, but you're also in the other areas as well, is that right?
Yeah, so we operate from Settle Pool, not the actual pool, the room beside the pool. So we have a weekly groups there. We also work from the place in Settle as well. So we use community bases, and also in Bentham, we're at the Methodist Church. But we've also offered some one-to-one support at the GP surgery in a room there. So, and we do stuff within those primary schools there as well. So, in Bentham and Settle. So yeah, so that's how we offer our support, and that is through weekly groups for primary and secondary age children, young people, where they get together in small groups of around about 10. Then we do wellbeing cafes, so we have a weekly in Settle and monthly in Bentham. But we're hoping, the Bentham one's been very, very popular, so we're hoping to expand that. And we also do a monthly one up in Grassington as well, so so we're covering all bases there.
Reaching out.
And then if people did want that, young people did want that one-to-one support, or their parents, we can organise that in those places as well. And we usually say we can see someone the same week for those for those areas. So yeah, which is quite good. It's just the logistics around that. But yeah, I think to get support the same week is pretty good.
Great, yeah. So if there's any young people who are from more rural location, then they don't feel excluded, don't feel, oh no, it's too far to travel to Skipton, there is support out there.
Yeah, and also we do, if getting there is going to be a problem, do contact us, because we can help with travel as well. So we can help with transport, and I think because what we find is we don't want transport to be a barrier to any of our services. So if you cannot travel to where we're based, we'll try and support you with that too.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
One of the things you mentioned is that your turnover time. A lot of very busy organisations. But you've just mentioned that it's like, would you say a week? Normally you get in touch with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Once you put in the referral, we'll contact you within a week to let you know. We'll let you know that we've received your referral and who's going to be contacting you. So that's the first thing. And the name of the person. So you'll have a named person, and then that person will look at where might be a good fit, give you a call and have a chat. Get you the young person in to have a chat with them if that's appropriate, or look at a group that would be the best situation. So yeah, people should be hearing within the week from us, and if it's going to be longer than that, we will let you know straight away. So but yeah, we try and be really clear and transparent around that.
Good. Are there any examples of support that maybe you've provided as a charity for young person, or young people that you can think of?
Yeah, I suppose there's been, I've been trying to think of, there's so many examples. I think we were on BBC Children in Need on Friday night with the support that we offered to Luke, a young person who comes to Selfa, and his family were on there, so that was really, really great to hear. I think also we've supported a number of children and young people through one-to-one support and with their mental health, and the kind of feedback that I'm having from that is that it's making a real difference to them, and that because they already had the relationship with someone at Selfa, that's been really, really supportive. And I just, I know through my own daughter, and she accessed support earlier on, and she's 17 now, and she's really thriving, she's doing really well, and she would say that her mental health is really good. And that's kind of a bit of my kind of textbook for all this is about how we support children, young people and their whole families early, because I know as a parent that I had to really look at my whole style of parenting, because it's very different when you're a parent to a child who's got mental health needs. And I did my toolbox, and I was like, I do not have anything. I don't know how to deal with this. So quite a few support for the whole family have meant that we've had children who've maybe had school anxiety or school refusal, who are now getting to the point where they are going back to school. We've also had some really, really good examples. One young lad came to one of our sports clubs and then represented. He'd never tried the sport before, and it was fencing, and then he'd gone on to represent England at fencing.
Wow.
So indeed. So that was a really good example of someone who'd come to one of ours, come through our holiday clubs, come to our weekly sports club, tried fencing, and then has gone on to represent England. So indeed, at a junior level. So that was really, really good, a really good example of a young person who's, raised their aspirations. Those are the kinds of things we want. We want children and young people to become more independent, to have hope for the future. Definitely. And I think that all stems from the work we do building relationships and supporting emotional health and well-being at the heart.
Great. And that links in a little bit with a question that I always like to ask any of our guests, really. Are there any particular issues that you see coming up more commonly at the moment with young people? And if there are any, then do you have any tips and advice for any young people listening who might be struggling with the same thing?
Yeah. I think when we talk about the impact that COVID's had, really, I think that's been massive on children and young people, and I don't think we can ever underestimate that. And I think that there's been a lot that's come out of that. There's been school anxiety, school refusal for a number of children and young people, and also we are at seeing mental health crisis of unprecedented demand really now. You would need to be hiding in a cave not to see the headlines every day about services. But I think from my point of view, what I would say is it gets better. It will get better. I promise you it will get better. And I do wish, like I could show some of my parents that come into Selfa with children, young people who are like 11, 12, 13 years old, some of our young people who are 17, 18, 19 year old, going on and living happy, fulfilled lives. There'll still be bumps in the road because that's life. We all have them. I have them in my 40s, but actually being able to cope with those bumps a heck of a lot more. And I really do think, I just wish I could say, it'll be okay. I promise you it's going to get better. And because it will. And I know that myself, I saw a very bleak future for my daughter, and actually now she's thriving, and I think, I wish I could have seen where you are now, but it is, and it's those people who held my hand in those times, and the support that I got, that really, really helped me through.
Fantastic. If there's anybody listening who has any questions about Selfa, or any questions about mental health that they want answering in our podcast, then please do get in touch. We're available on Instagram as Selfa and other social media that we've already mentioned. But other than that, thank you, Emma, for joining us today. It's been fantastic, and it's great work that the charity's doing across Craven. I know the support that it's provided so many young people that I've seen. It's really good to hear. So thank you for joining us today, and hopefully to everybody else, we'll speak soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Emma.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the GR8 Minds Podcast. If you have any questions that you would like us to answer on the show, please get in touch via our Instagram page at the Great Minds Podcast, and we'll do our best to answer your question the next time we record. If you would like to find out more about Great Minds and WACA, please visit our website www.greatminds.co.uk. Until next time, you've been listening to the Great Minds Podcast. Speak soon.